Hey, welcome back. We're going to do a little bit more work with paired texts through the rest of this week. Let's take a look at our objective and our criteria here. I'm still trying to answer questions about paired text, and I'm going to do some more combining of answers about paired text today. Not just answering, but combining information. But the idea is pretty much the same. We're going to read two texts, and then when you're asked questions, you need to check which text you're answering about, and then you're going to wrap your answer with evidence from the correct text or texts. And wrap just means, of course, restate the question, answer the question, and prove your answer. Let's come on down here to our third step is a little different today, so we'll look at that real quick. I am going to ask you to be proving your answer, like writing out proof to your answer. So that means we're going to make sure we restate the question, answer it, and prove it. Let's look at some answers to questions from Otis. He answered some questions about the text that you read yesterday, so let's take a look. The question says, in Mr. Whiskers' Whiskers, who was the main character? In Mr. Whiskers' Whiskers, the main character was Consuela. I know this is true because Consuela is the one in the story who does most of the speaking and acting, and I know that a main character is the person who the story is mostly about. It seems like, for this one, Otis read the question and read the text. He checked which text he was answering about. It says Mr. Whiskers' Whiskers, and his answer says Mr. Whiskers' Whiskers. And did he wrap his answer? Did he restate the question? In Mr. Whiskers' Whiskers, the main character was? Who was the main character? Yes, everything is appearing in my answer there. He answered it. The main character was Consuela, and then he proved it. He proved it with information about Consuela from the story and what he knows about main characters. Nice job, Otis. All right, let's see. On this one, I think Otis might have made a mistake. I want you to pause the video after I read the question and answer and see if you can come up with which step or steps Otis needs to go back and do. In a safari in Africa, what was the setting? Otis's answer. The setting was Consuela's house. I know this is true because they were in the kitchen of the house feeding Mr. Whiskers in the story. I want you to pause the video and see if you can figure out what step he forgot to do here. Welcome back. I think he probably read the texts because he's answering about Mr. Whiskers accurately, but he forgot to check which text he was asked a question about. This question says, in a safari in Africa, and Mr. Whiskers is the text he answered about. He didn't answer about a safari in Africa. The setting is completely different there. Let's do two more. How were the main characters in both texts the same, and how were they different, says the question. Consuela and Kevin are both children who want to learn about animals. I know this is true because Consuela is curious about Mr. Whiskers, and Kevin is worried about lions. What step or steps did our fearless adventurer Otis forget here? It's a little tricky. See if you can figure it out. Okay, let's see. Does it seem like he read the texts? He's talking about characters from both stories. Did he check which text he's answering about? It says both, and he's talking about both Consuela and Kevin. Did he wrap his answer with evidence from both texts? He did not restate the question. He just starts his answer there. He didn't restate it, so he might end up making a mistake if he doesn't restate. Did he prove his answer? He says, I know this is true, and it looks like he used proof from the text, so his main problem is just restating the question there. All right, compare the animals in both texts. How are they alike? Otis says, in both texts, the animals are alike because they are free creatures who don't harm the main characters. I know this is true because Kevin doesn't get hurt by the giraffe, and Consuela only gets batted away from Mr. Whiskers. It looks like this is a good, strong answer. He's answering about both texts, right? Because Kevin and Consuela are in his answer, and he's talking about animals in both, the giraffe and Mr. Whiskers. He restated the question in both texts. The animals are alike because, and he answered with proof. So nice job on that one, Otis. That's what I'd like you to do today about our two new texts. You're going to be asked to compare and contrast things from the text and that you need to combine information in your answer about both texts. So just like Otis combined information about both texts, he talks about Kevin and the giraffe from the safari in Africa, and Consuela and Mr. Whiskers from Mr. Whiskers' Whiskers. I want you to combine information in your answer, just like he did. That's what we're doing today, and I'll see you on the other side. After you work on this, you're working on independent reading and an independent reading response, in which you're retelling information from your book that you're reading. See you later.